Good morning.
Goeiemôre. Ons kan match glad die vanoggend hê.
It's one of those things you should just wake up earlier. So she just rushed in here now 2 seconds ago. So
Yes, once again, he occupied the bathroom for...
no. You have time from 4 o'clock to get up. I was there for 15 minutes and then you complained. So
Yeah.
All right, this morning we're talking about changing your mind. It's probably a difficult topic for a lot of people.
Not changing your mind about immigrating. Not that.
No, about what then?
About stuff when you're in New Zealand. Veronica Steenekamp sent me a message yesterday, and she said, when do you know when stuff is really too expensive? When do you know when expensive is really becoming really expensive? And how do you change your mindset about the prices of stuff in New Zealand? How do you change your mindset about that?
And let's face the facts. We're coming from South Africa, where a rather reasonable average house cost about 2 million rand, which is less than, that's about $180,000.
Yeah.
And $180,000 here will probably not even secure a good deposit on a house.
Yeah.
So it's
Veronica also says that she keeps on converting everything back to rands. Now, we also did that in the beginning.
And we did that for about
a year or two.
I would say 2 years.
Yeah.
I probably did that for 2 years.
I don't do it anymore. What I do now is when the kids phone me and they say, oh, there's a current carnival or whatever, and it's 250 rand, then I'm like, $25.
It's not too much.
Yeah, so I think it happens automatically.
Yeah, but it is a mindset. Let's get it right.
Look, there are still people that's been here for 5 years that's still converting everything back to rand, and you can't do that anymore because you don't know what the prices in South Africa are at the moment. And otherwise, you won't be able to live. You won't enjoy anything. You'll never go away. You'll never go out for dinner.
I think that the day the penny dropped for me was the day I bought the Nissan Patrol. Because I was thinking, geez, this is a lot of money for a vehicle in New Zealand. And then I looked at what they cost in South Africa.
Yeah, vehicles are
very much more expensive down there. Yeah.
Vehicles are less expensive in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Houses are very expensive in New Zealand. But
and
still,
smaller stuff. I've got this $5 thing in my mind. Okay, I probably should put it up with inflation down to $10 these days. But I've got anything that's below $5 is not too much. I don't think about that. But stuff has gone. In the past, it was like a Coke was $4.30, a coffee was $4.50. But I see coffee has gone up this. I haven't bought coffee for a while. But coffee has gone up these days. So and pies used to be below 5. Now they're about 7 or 8. So I should probably push my own barriers up to about 10.
Yeah, look, everything got more expensive the last year. Yeah. Everything. Although I was lying in bed last night and I was thinking about this, the prices of bread kind of stayed the same since we arrived.
I know eggs went crazy.
Yeah, but let's go with the bread because that's something that everyone buys. So that kind of stayed the same. Cheese, you still get cheese for $9 for a kilogram. So cheese kind of also, when we arrived, it was about $7. It went up about $2, but I haven't seen...
That's in 6 years' time.
Yeah, I haven't seen that much of an increase.
That's not too bad.
The eggs went haywire, but I know that in South Africa, it also...
It looks like it's worldwide.
Yeah, no, it's a huge problem everywhere.
Yeah.
And then milk, since we've arrived in New Zealand, went up with $1. So it's in 6 years, it went up with $1.
What was it?
It was below $2.
And now it's $3.
Almost $3. Yeah. Sometimes you still get a special at Pack and Save, and then it's
like 10% per year that it actually went up.
But you just have to look for the bargains. I go into the shop and I don't care about the brand or anything. I just look on the shelf, which one's the less expensive, and I just buy that. I'm really not, I'm not fussy about what I buy.
So can I ask a question? So how do you change your mind about the type of mayonnaise you buy?
It's nothing to do with the price.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with the price.
There's nothing to do with the price. So mayonnaise at any price, a specific one you buy.
And the mayonnaise at the South African stores, and also when you buy it at Back and Safe, the Cross and Blackwell or the Nola, it's mostly Nola, that price hasn't increased at all. It was $9 when we arrived. It's still $9.
Okay.
So funny enough, that hasn't increased.
I think that they're probably importing larger amounts and getting a better price on that.
Yeah,
That's probably what I'm thinking.
Know. What I wanted to say about the houses that's that expensive, although it is much more expensive than you will ever pay for a house in South Africa, when you earn dollars, you will be able to buy a house. It's exactly the same scenario as when you're in South Africa.
Let me put it to you differently.
Yes.
And I work with a lot of clients on this. If you were, whatever job you were doing in South Africa versus the job you're doing in New Zealand, which is very much the same description at the end of the day, you'll easily buy a $1 million house in New Zealand than what you could ever buy a 12 million rand house in South Africa.
No, that would never.
No, I'm just talking facts and facts here. So doing the same type of job, you're now increasing your personal wealth, because a house is personal wealth. That's how I see it. Buying a Coke is not personal wealth because you drink the thing and you throw it away.
But you also shouldn't compare the house prices here with
No. I'm just talking about,
because then you'll get really depressed, because a 12 million rand house in South Africa is a mansion. And in New Zealand, a 1 million.
But very few people can buy a 12 million rand house.
No, I hear what you're saying.
The fact is, the normal guy that scarcely could afford a 2 million rand house in South Africa can buy a $1 million house here. Yes, it's going to be tight, but they can do it.
Yeah.
So
the one thing that you have to learn yourself, teach yourself when you're in New Zealand, save.
Take the credit cards, cut them up. Gym cards, all this stuff.
And you don't need expensive stuff. No one cares. I know there are some people that still say they can't make friends, or they struggle with the South Africans because they want to know what car you're driving, where do you live, have you bought a house, are you renting, whatever. You'll always get that people. But you know what? You can choose who you want to be friends with.
Yeah.
You don't need those
people. If your friends are like that,
you don't
new
need
ones.
Them. We all moved to a new country for a new beginning. We're all starting from scratch. You don't get yourself into that battle of just paying and not
living like the Joneses or what?
Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses. You don't have to do that.
You don't have, except if you're in North Shore, then you got to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
I'm always joking about the North Shore people. Okay, there's a good one. I think the biggest issue with converting is that if you still use your rands, it's expensive. Yes. That's a fact. I can't wait to earn dollars to stop converting.
Yeah, that's what.
And you are going to convert. Just get over this. You are going to convert for the first year or 2 years. It's a natural process of adapting to your new country. And then do yourself a favor, like I've done. In a period of 4 or 5 years down the line, go back and see what the same stuff you're buying in New Zealand costs in South Africa. It'll be a big eye opener for you. Really, I promise you'll think, wow, I would have never paid this for this amount of money for something like this in South Africa.
I remember when we were still living in South Africa, we went to visit Jan's family in England, and his cousin earned £3,000 a month.
Something like that.
Yeah. And in my head, I was just like, how on earth can you survive on £3,000? How do you live?
Well, that stage was about 65,000 rand.
And I was seeing what they pay for grapes, and his aunt is just packing the trolley. It's grapes and it's whatever. And I'm looking at the prices, converting all the time. And I'm just wondering, how on earth do you survive? But you know what? When you earn that and you pay that, then it's just natural.
One of those things. That probably was the worst ever budgeted holiday in my life. I mean, when we started the holiday, when I planned the whole holiday, the rand to the pound was 18 rand to the pound. And when we arrived in Britain, one of our brilliant ministers had something wrong, so said something wrong again, and the rand skyrocketed to nearly 24, 25 rand. So our whole budget was blown out the door.
Yeah.
And then she just used the credit card and just said, let's swipe. We'll talk about that.
Oops.
All right. This
Don't know
looks
what
like
happened
we
there.
had a small hiccup there.
Load shedding.
No, it was internet shedding. It's probably because the Springboks won there.
What I wanted to say is then Michael said to us the day just before we left, we said we want to go out for a nice burger. Just the two of us, they were already going to work. And they were just telling us about all these nice places where we can go. We were looking at each other and we bought Burger King. What?
Oh, yeah.
We just couldn't afford
for the
anything
cheapest.
But that's part of the adventure. And I think that's the way that you must also see your first few years in New Zealand. I mean, I still see it as an adventure. For us, and for me personally, it's all about living life.
Yep.
It's not so much to do with how my house looks. You don't want to see what it looks like this this morning.
I know, it's crazy.
It is so democratic. But you know what? I've got things to do and I enjoy the things that I do. So that's the last thing on my mind.
Yeah. The other thing is, I was just thinking, your first 2 years, regard that as a holiday in New Zealand. And
a very hard holiday.
It's a hard holiday, but you gotta open up your mind to all the new things in a way that's easy for you to digest. And thinking about it, it's a holiday, and yes, you got this amount of money for the holiday, which is your salary, but you can't spend it all. I mean, that's important. It's seeing out places. Don't think, oh, geez, I can't pay 65 rand for a pie.
Rather take your money and think to yourself, let's see what I can do with this. Okay?
Yeah, you can also go and see what is the cheapest I can get away with, and have a bit of a mind games with yourself.
What my son did, Son, and that actually is a very good idea. I've heard of other people that also does that. When they want to buy something and they're thinking it's really expensive, he made, in his head, he asked himself, how many hours do I have to work to be able to afford this? So the amount of money that he got per hour, say he wanted to buy something for $50 or $60, and he would say to himself, okay, it's 3.5 hours. I have to and then he's like, I know that's not too bad.
Or he would come back and say, it's crazy.
Yeah, or he just said, no, I can't work a week to buy this or whatever. So that's a really good idea if you really want to just think. But the food is really expensive. I went grocery shopping again yesterday, and I wanted to make us, or I did make us, a pumpkin bake with our braai over the weekend. And it's normally half pumpkin, half potato. But the butternuts, it's $8 for one butternut. And I promise you,
it's 100 rand.
The butternut was the size of my phone. That was the size of the butternut.
So why can't you use other
other pumpkins are just as expensive.
And why can't you use frozen pumpkin?
They didn't have frozen pumpkin.
Okay.
So I bought one butternut and the rest was just potato. But I could have left. I didn't want to leave the butternut. Otherwise, I would have left it because it's so crazy expensive. Another thing that's really expensive at the moment, I think it is probably a seasonal thing. I don't really know when butternuts and kumras grow.
Not now.
Or
not here now.
Yeah, the kumras are like $11 a kilo. You can't. It's a sweet potato. I don't buy sweet potatoes for $11 a kilo. And I always spoil Jan with grapes. He loves grapes. But during winter, I don't buy grapes.
No, it's crazy. It's just way too expensive.
Yeah, yesterday.
And the quality is not that good.
Yesterday, I walked into Countdown. I never buy from Countdown. I buy at Back and Save. It's just, it's really less expensive at Back and Save. But I was near Countdown, so I just popped in there quickly. And there were grapes like this. It was huge green grapes, beautiful grapes. And I put it in the trolley. I didn't look at the price. I didn't want to look at the price because I knew it was going to be bad.
So what was the price at the end of the day?
And then there was something else that I needed.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, I'll take this. I'll put the grapes back. $14 a kilo.
Yes.
No, it's expensive.
It's expensive. I fully agree. It's expensive.
Yeah,
but I mean,
when it's in season,
for grapes, it's not.
No, in season you pay about $5 or $6.
Yeah, what I want to say with grapes, it's not worth your while paying 14.
No, it's not.
So it's
just
it's a small punnet here.
No, it's not worth it.
No.
So yeah, you just have to kind of get your head around it.
And it's very, very tough to get your head around that. So
it is hard. But yes, you will know instinctively when stuff is too expensive. Like the tomatoes in winter, I tend to just not buy tomatoes in winter because it's so expensive. I see now that it's becoming a little better.
Okay.
You can buy the small baby tomatoes that I put in
because
a salad.
I planted tomatoes this year. That's why it becomes.
Well, they're not ready yet.
I know that's why it's becoming cheaper.
Yeah, but now I can buy a punnet of tomatoes for $4 again, so that's okay. That's
the Italian tomatoes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's good.
But in winter it's like $8 or $9 for 250 grams of tomatoes. It's just ridiculous. You can't do that.
Somebody just asking, can you grow your own veggies? The answer is a big yes. I've actually, when I arrived here, it's always a thing of me when I moved into a new house and so on. I would like to plant something. The first year I had this massive garden or veggie garden, and I grew everything. And by the time the veggies was ready to eat, the veggies in the shop has gone so cheap that I was actually at a loss at that stage.
Yeah.
But this year I did something different. I bought 2 planter boxes and I've planted them with all the needed, especially herbs and those types of stuff that we use a lot. So we've got that, and that will be soon be ready to harvest in a month or so. Yeah.
Now you can do your own veggies. The soil in New Zealand is
really
absolutely
good.
amazing.
That's really good.
Gardening and full vegetable gardening stuff.
So I even planted some pumpkin for you.
Have you?
Oh yeah.
Real pumpkin or butternut?
Yeah, they're this long already. Some of them are butternut, some of them are that round ones, the ones that you like.
The thing with pumpkin, just when you plant it, it's a huge plant. It takes over.
I thought let it grow. That area can let it grow.
Where did you plant it?
It's still in seedling form. So I'm thinking underneath the citrus tree, or the citrus or whatever you want to call it.
Let's talk clothes. Clothes for men. How do you find prices?
I actually bought clothes in New Zealand, and then I went back to South Africa thinking I could buy a heap of clothes down there. And the clothes in South Africa was more expensive. You just got to look at what you buy. And there's always somewhere a special. That I promise you. There's always somewhere special. You don't need to. I don't wear Nike and those type of things, except that I think it's ugly. Sorry about the guys that wears Nike. I think it's ugly, so I don't wear it. There's a lot of other stuff. I go and buy at Farmers, which is about a medium size, the old Edgar's, Woolworths type of thing in South Africa. And I always go to the special side at first and see what's on special. And normally I get all my clothes on the special side.
Yeah.
So
and
at reasonable prices, to be quite frank.
For me also, I try not to buy too many clothes because I tend to always buy the expensive stuff.
This is being recorded.
Yeah, but it's true. So I have bought clothes at Kmart and at the warehouse that have lasted me a very, very long time. So I think you must just look at what you buy. Your T-shirts probably won't last that long, but other stuff. I mean, I've bought clothes from Just Jeans and the T-shirts on. I can't wear them anymore.
I bought from Cotton On.
Oh.
Let's be quite frank. I bought from Cotton On. I walked in, there was a special buy one, get one free. So I bought all the clothes, all the colors. I think it was 6 different T-shirts that I bought because I really needed T-shirts. I wore them once. After one wash, they were this size. So, I don't know why.
So yes, I tend to go to the more isolated kind of stores to buy my clothes, and then I pay a little bit more, but I'll maybe just buy one thing. and I pay a little bit more for it, but then I know it's something that will last me a lot longer. And it is a little different because there are so few franchise clothes stores in New Zealand. Everyone ends up wearing the same thing. It doesn't really matter, I know.
Yeah.
But for me, I have a certain style that I like to wear, which is a little bit boho, a little bit.
And she wears the weirder stuff. Yeah. So.
And that you don't get anywhere or everywhere. So when I see something, I tend to just buy it then.
And no, it's not that expensive.
No, it's not that bad. So it's a thing that you
I sometimes keep an eye on what she's paying. I think, okay.
Sorry, I've really got a frog in my throat this morning.
What is this with you in the coffee? So, yeah. Other things that you really need, you can't do without this stuff like petrol. But I see petrol in South Africa is also just very much the same price as what petrol is here. And to be quite frank, I'm complaining about the price of petrol under the Labour government. It went from being not too expensive to being crazy expensive. But in about 2.5 years, it went up from about 80 cents on what I was using at that stage to nearly $3. I mean, this is not on. This is not.
No, it is really expensive. Yeah. But then again, that is something that you can't do without. So whatever the price is, unfortunately,
and they've got a knife to your throat on that. And I mean, this is all the government's fault. This is a massive problem.
There are some things that you really need, you can't do without. And it's expensive, so you just have to pay for it. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, so, it's like house renting. The renting market, since we came, went up with about $200 a week.
At least we paid $570 when we arrived in 2018.
Yeah.
So that's 6 years ago. We paid $570 for a big house. It was a big house. We were actually, I didn't want to pay that large amount. I was thinking more $500. But unfortunately, there was nothing else available, so we had to go into this house of $570 a week. But that same house will probably go back, let's say $850 now.
Yeah. So, and that's also something that you can't do anything about it. But again, don't think of it that way. Think of what you're earning, and then what you can afford. Your house will take the largest amount of your salary. Yeah, definitely.
So first house, and then it's food.
Yeah, if you've got kids, then it's also, I don't know, schools and stuff.
And as Mariska said earlier, try to cut the debt. I know it's probably not the easiest thing to do when you arrive here, but whatever debt you got on these gem cards and those type of things, they charge you something like 20% interest on that.
And you must just remember that everything you have debt-wise, when you one day want to buy something,
that counts,
a vehicle or a house or whatever, it counts against you. It counts against you.
Because the banks are saying, hey, this guy's got loose debt. It's not like in South Africa where you need to make debt just to get some debt.
You don't need debt.
You don't need it to make.
Yeah. So
don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I know there's mortgage advisors saying this.
And if you really want to use one of those cards, these are a lot of them. I can't even. I don't know what all the names are.
After pay and before pay and doesn't pay and gem.
Just think, if you really need that, do you really need what you want to buy with that? I think if it's something that you can't afford on your salary, then just leave it.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to use those cards to pay for something that you don't actually need.
Except if it's fishing gear.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, for the big things, you sometimes got to do debt. If you buy a car, if you buy, let's say, a boat or caravan, these things that you can't just save up in a few months' time. But for everything else, geez, try and save up. Another tip I can give you guys is if you take out your insurance, your car insurance, house insurance, those type of things, pay a yearly price on that. I know it's a larger amount that you're going to take out once, but it's cheaper to pay yearly than to pay every month. If you can afford it, let me be quite frank.
I don't know who can afford that.
So I save up to do that.
Sure.
So I'd rather take the amounts that I would pay every month, put them somewhere in a savings bracket, and then as soon as I have to pay my yearly, just take it out of there.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
because otherwise, you it's as if they lend you the money. They charge you.
Mm.
They charge you something because you're paying off by month.
Yeah.
So
The one thing in New Zealand is when you open a bank account, you automatically get a savings account with your bank account. So you just have to teach yourself to use that savings account and not use the money. I know that when you put money into your savings account, that accumulates, and at the end of the month you get something for that.
oh, it's something like 1%.
It's not much, but it is kind of an incentive just to kind of see how much you can actually save. I try to put, if it's only $20 a week, I do $20 a week, just something in there. And at Christmas time, you're probably going to need that to pay for your children's gifts and stuff.
As you don't need to buy for the kids anymore. Oh, you're now saving up to buy me something for Christmas.
Yeah.
All right, I think quickly tell the people about Louis Brits coming.
Okay, for those who don't already know, Louis Brits is going to be in Tauranga on the 20th of November. There are still tickets available. It is on a Monday evening, but unfortunately, that was just the cards that we've been dealt, so we have to deal with it. It will start at 6 o'clock. You can pre-order some food. We've got curry and rice, vegetarian curry and rice if you don't eat meat. And also hot dogs for the children, or if you want a hot dog. And that you can pre-order, and it will be eat at 6 o'clock, and then the concert will start at 7 o'clock. And it shouldn't be too long. We should be done at about 8:30, so it's really not that late to get the kids to bed. So if you can make it, please do. And then also there is a braai for the men on the Tuesday evening from 6 o'clock. We will make sure that the fires are ready when you get there. If you can't be there at 6, you can come. It's from 6. So I know some men work a little bit later, so you come whenever you are ready. We'll try to eat at about 7:15, and then Louis will just give a little bit of his what is the getuienis? Testimony, and sing a few songs, and you get to meet him and chat to him and just be amongst other Christian men and have a.
And guys, this is more than just a braai. I think this is a chance for people to mingle a bit.
Yes.
Especially the guys. You girls tend to have all these functions and shit, but we as men doesn't have the chance to really get out there. I mean, I can only take 4 people on my boat. That's about.
Yeah, that's why we thought it would be a really good idea to give the men a chance to get together. And I mean, what better person to be able to meet than Louis Brits and
I think, especially for business people who've got businesses, come on, guys, bring a few business cards. You pick up a client perhaps while standing around the braai.
Yeah.
Because that's got to be a relaxed atmosphere and so forth.
And the braai is only $20 per person, and you get all your meat, all your
so you don't have to buy anything.
All the salads and
all
vegetables. You get a dessert, and you get your drinks.
Yeah.
So everything is included. So please, if you can make it.
Is there a few beers as well?
No, there won't be beers.
Okay. We'll have to chat about this.
No, it's not. No, it's not that kind of a party.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's time for us to say goodbye. So, all right, guys and girls, thanks a lot. And we'll see you next time, same place, same time, next week.
Enjoy your weekend. Looks like the weather will be okay-ish.
Looks like the weather will be okay. Okay. So, yeah.
Okay, bye.